Alright, so what's up everybody? This is a Hurley-centric episode entitled Everybody Loves Hurley. It's the 12th episode this season. We got about 4 more episodes I believe before the series finale on May 23rd. This one starts out, Hurley is being recognized for all his good doings in the alternate timeline. He's obviously made a whole lot of money because he's done a lot of good things for kids, which is a good thing. Always thought Hurley was a good guy. Always loved Hurley throughout all of the season of Lost. I don't think he ever did a bad thing. Hurley has opened a paleontology wing on a certain history museum, and I thought that was pretty cool. So he gets his little reward, his little trophy, and it's of a dinosaur, which is pretty cool. I thought it would have been better to see a little, like a bear or a polar bear, but that didn't happen. Alright, so the next part, I thought was pretty cool. Hurley obviously isn't married or has a girlfriend in the alternate timeline, and his mother's pretty upset about that. So his mom tells him that he has a date tomorrow night, and it's with some chick. And I like how she calls him Hugo, which is pretty cool. But anyways, I was wondering who this girl was gonna be whenever he met her, and I was hoping I'm not going to lie to you guys, if you've seen the episode already, I was like, let it be Libby. It's got to be Libby. It's got to be Libby. But you have to wait to see. Hurley is talking to Libby from her grave, and I always feel for Hurley. I mean, he never really had anybody, and all of a sudden you hear the whispers, and Michael shows up, which is really, really cool. I loved it. Nice to see Michael back. And but he tells Hurley, he says, everybody starts following you now, so if you take them back over there to try to destroy the plane, you're going to kill everybody. Hurley is waiting for his blind date, and nobody's showing up. And he orders some extra chips because obviously he's been there for probably, 30 minutes or so. And all of a sudden he's trying to look through the menu. I guess he's deciding on what he wants for dinner. And all of a sudden, guess who shows up? Libby. I thought this was really cool, and she sits down, and she says, "You don't remember me," and he's like, "Should I?" A guy from the Santa Rosa Mental Institute shows up, and he's trying to take her away, and she's like, "No, we're old friends." Lana's talking about how she's been training her whole life for this, and Hurley's like, I don't think this is a good idea. If we blow up the plane, then we'll be stuck with that angry thing on the island, which was a good idea because I never thought about that. If they blow up the plane, then Flock's going to be really, really angry and he's going to want to kill everybody. But the next part I didn't see coming because I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it because Hurley was like, that stuff's really unstable, talking about the dynamite, and my wife was talking to her. She's like, she's gonna blow up, and I was like, I don't think so. She's been on the show since season 5. I'm like, I don't. And all of a sudden, she's jiggling around the dynamite. And she drops on the ground and boom, she's gone. She blew up, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. This is pretty funny. Saeed found what he was looking for that was locked up in the submarine. It was Desmond, and now he's tied to a tree. Poor Desmond. So what do you guys think Hurley found in that sack that he pulled out after he found that book? Obviously it's something that made him change his mind and want to do what Richard did. Leave it down below and tell me what you guys think. Order number 42. That's me, brother. Anyways, at this part, Desmond is trying to convince Hurley to go back to Libby because he knows something that he doesn't know, of course, that he should be with Libby, and Libby and him have been together before. My favorite part, though, was when Hurley's like, yeah, everything went great until I found out she was crazy. And then Desmond was like, well, every woman's a little bit crazy. Sorry, Samantha. It is true. Desmond doesn't know yet that John Locke is Flock. And the next part, they're walking to the Black Rock, and all of a sudden Hurley's like, run, run, run. Everybody's standing there, and all of a sudden, boom, the Black Rock blows up. Hurley says, dead people are more reliable than live people. I liked how Hurley got in on this because he come into the guy that runs the mental institute and says, what's it take to get in to see somebody? He says family member, and then he's like, or a generous contribution, and he writes a check for $100,000. Like, you could pretty much do anything if you wrote a check like that. This part is kind of gives me goosebumps because you got Desmond and Flock walking through the jungle talking to each other, and all of a sudden Flock is standing there talking to Desmond, and he kind of looks and he's like, and Desmond's turning around, he sees him too, but this time he's not blonde though, he's dark haired and he's older. So who is it? Is it Charlie, Desmond's son? Is it Aaron, Claire's son? Tell me what you guys think below, because that kid has something very, very significant going on this island. He knows the rules, he knows how to follow them, and he gave a really, really big smile before he ran off. Tell me what you guys think, alright? So, why does Hurley lie in this part? Because Hurley usually always tells the truth when it's very important, and he says that Jacob tells him to go and talk to Locke. No, Jacob wouldn't do that, because Locke is not Locke, he's Flock. And Man in Black. And Richard knows that he's lying, and he calls his bluff, which I thought was pretty funny, because Richard's not a stupid person, but Jack decides to go with him. He's like, if Hurley says it's good, then I'll go with him. And Hurley, you can tell Hurley kind of feels bad about it, but what are you going to do? The next part is very important, because Jack and Son and Hurley, Frank Lapidus are heading through the jungle, and Hurley tells Jack that he didn't see Jacob, but Jack still, he said, Hurley, I'm tired of doing what I think is right, and I'm just going to follow somebody else, and if you say you're doing what you think is good, then I'll follow you. All of a sudden you hear the whispers, and we get a very, very good answer to what the whispers are in the jungle. And I thought this part was really, really cool, because Michael tells him, you know, I've done what I've done. He killed Libby and Ana Lucia, and he says, I can't move on. And that's what all the whispers are on the island. Just don't get yourself killed. That's all he wants from Hurley. And he says, and if you see Libby again, please tell her I'm very sorry. That part was really, really good, because I'm sure Michael is hurtful for, you know, he hurts because of what he did to Libby and Ana Lucia. Hurley and Libby finally have their picnic on the beach, which is awesome, because it was supposed to happen until Libby got killed by Michael. Libby goes in for a kiss, and guess what happens? He starts flashing, and he's starting to remember stuff about Libby back seasons before, and all of a sudden he's like, no, you're not crazy, because I remember things now. Flock throws Desmond down the well, which is kind of pointless, because we know if Desmond is very important to the whole lost outcome, he's going to be saved anyways. But Flock wants to know, why aren't you afraid? And he's like, what's the point of being afraid? Flock's such a dick. And I guess we'll find more about him in 3 more episodes, I think, so we'll see. Frank Lapidus, Son, Miles, and Jack come out of the forest, and only thing Flock has to say to Jack is, hello, Jack. And Jack's like, what? Desmond is parked outside of school, and Ben comes up and asks him what's he doing out here. Desmond says, oh no, he's just he has a son, and he's moved into the neighborhood, so he's obviously looking for a good school. But then all of a sudden you see Locke in his wheelchair, and he's wheeling out, and all of a sudden it's like Desmond's like, and he takes off. I was like, oh no, he ran Locke over. I was like, WTF. And now it looks like Locke is kind of flashing, maybe, like, because his eyes are rolling around. So I think Desmond did that on purpose, you know, of course, like Charlie did to Desmond. But I thought it was pretty mean, because he's already in a freaking wheelchair. I mean, give Locke a break. He's been through shit, you know? Oh my God. See you guys next week. Have a good one. Thanks.